Hi, let's start on assessment criteria 3.3 for societal impact. So, in this area of study, we will be looking at the strategy and tactics that are required to undertake a ethical and a responsible marketing strategy. So there will be some new concepts like the nudge theory, the green claims code, greenwashing. Then we will be particularly spending some time on the marketing mix, the 7 Ps: product, price, place, promotion, physical evidence, people, and process, the 7 Ps. And we will be looking at the 7 Ps through a responsible lens. The 7 Ps through a responsible lens. And finally, we'll be looking at some of the communication strategies and marketing strategies that we can adopt and a plan to undertake societal marketing. So in terms of a communication strategy, now, communication is very, very important in responsible and ethical marketing, because if you don't communicate your message effectively, your audience will not understand all the effort that goes behind a sustainability strategy. So communication is very important, and you can today use digital means. You can use traditional means like TV, radio, press, advertising, but increasingly there are digital marketing strategic communication options that are very, very useful. Now, the first step here is to define the principles. What are you going to do? What is being communicated? What are your ethical marketing principles? Then identify your stakeholders. Identify your stakeholders. Who are you targeting? Craft a clear, authentic message. Have a clear message. Your message must be designed in a way that it is authentic, believable. And we have seen so many ads from Patagonia to Nike to Lego to so many examples. Body Shop, right? Ben and Jerry's. You've seen all those ads. Authenticity is very important in the message. Choose effective communication channels. I spoke of digital, which is increasingly used. And engage in two-way communication with your stakeholders. Measure and report ethical marketing impact, and ensure compliance and continuous improvement. So this is a communication strategy, a 7-step communication strategy that you can adopt in applying responsible and ethical marketing. Now, what do you mean by the nudge theory? What is a nudge? What is a nudge? So Richard Thaler and Cass suggest that small, subtle cues can influence consumer behavior without restricting choices. So a nudge means a small provocation, a small reminder to consumers. Sometimes these small reminders can go a long way. So I'll start with the second bullet. You can frame the information and present your information in your ads or in a point of sale or in your packaging positively. Some companies will label food as 95% fat-free rather than 5% fat. it makes more appeal. So if companies say 5% fat, so people will stop buying it because it is 5% fat. But if you say 95% fat free in the packaging, then that is like, wow, 95% fat free. You won't think about the 5%. So it is how you frame your message. Highlight the social impact of a purchase. This product funds clean water for a family. So you will clearly highlight the social impact rather than say we support clean water, right? Default options. Search engines like Ecosia set eco-friendly search as the default option. Brands can offer carbon neutral shipping as the pre-selected choice. So you can see this is the nudge theory. Social proof leveraging community influence. 80% of our customers choose the eco-friendly option. You're nudging at the checkout online, right? Sustainable shopping. Supermarkets place plant-based product at eye level. Plant-based products will be at the eye level of the shelf. Offer incentives for sustainable actions. Reduce the friction to make responsible choices easier. So there you go. This is called the nudge theory. These are the subtle cues. Subtle cues. Small things that you do that will make and remind customers about your sustainability strategy. We've sort of spoken about the green claims code before. What is the green claims code, right? So many companies claim that they are sustainable, that they are green, that they are environmental friendly, eco-friendly. All these claims that companies make must be substantiated, right? Many businesses use green claims to help market their products or services. They do this through a range of methods such as statements, symbols, emblems, logos, graphics, colors, and other product names. Now, this is not ethical. This is not ethical. If you look online, now yesterday I was trying to buy, I don't know if you know this, what we call Nelly in Sri Lanka, Titta Nelly in Sri Lanka, which is globally known as Indian gooseberry. Indian gooseberry. Titta Nelly in Sri Lanka is known as Indian gooseberry. An Indian gooseberry has a lot of health properties, right? Although it's bitter, it has a lot of health properties. So I was talking to my general physician the other day, and he said, you must start eating some Indian gooseberries because they are really good. They have a lot of antioxidants. It's good for a lot of things, cholesterol, heart, digestion, so many things, cancer, so many things. So get used to having about 2-3 at least a day, or you have to take by the supplements of the Indian gooseberry. So I went online to check for Indian gooseberry supplements. There are a few in India and in Sri Lanka. But the green claims that all these guys make, they use all graphics, logos, colors, statements to show that they are organic, they are green, and the packaging is green. So you can see sometimes you wonder, particularly in this part of the world, Asia and Southeast Asia, we don't respect the laws or the ethics when it comes to marketing. We somehow want to sell our product. But in the West, you can't do that. You're doing a British qualification. People will look down on you, and consumers are aware of all the codes, the ethics, as well as kind of regulatory bodies that are there to regulate these functions. So the green claims code claims that you need to be truthful and accurate, be clear and unambiguous, not omit or hide important information, only make fair comparisons, consider the full life cycle of the product, and be substantiated. So you can look at the green claims code. It is online. I have shared it as well with you. Now, greenwashing is something that we need to avoid. These are all misleading labels. It misleads the consumer. Consumer, at the end of the day, if the consumer is not aware, consumer will fall for nice logos like this. Nice logos like this. So awareness is part of the problem. Here are the trustworthy credentials of a truly green certified brand. So you have B Corp, we looked at that, cruelty free, then fair trade. All these are organizations that one can trust on. So greenwashing is a practice of making an unsubstantiated or misleading claim about the environmental benefits of a product, service, technology, or company practice. So one must avoid greenwashing your products at all costs because customers today are aware of all the misleading labels. Now, let's look at the marketing mix. You have the 4 Ps and the 7 Ps. So let's start our conversation with the 4 Ps. So when we talk about the marketing mix, the sustainable marketing mix, in terms of product, companies are called to be sustainable, eco-friendly, look through their manufacturing processes and all product packaging, all those things for it to be sustainable. In terms of place means your distribution. So your distribution process must be environmental friendly. Some companies can look at net zero emissions for distribution by using electric and all the other methods. So distribution might depend especially on a product. Service, there is nothing much to discuss about distribution. It's more delivery. Pricing considerations to increase accessibility to sustainable products. Usually, sustainable products are much more expensive than normal products. Even if you go to buy vegetables, organics are 3-4 times the price of normal vegetables. So how do you make it more available and affordable? Promotion focuses on the messaging, how the messaging is credible, honest, and how do you avoid greenwashing. So that is the 4 Ps of marketing. Then when we talk about the sustainable marketing strategy, if you are trying to create a sustainable marketing strategy, the first step is to identify where you are now. Where you are now. We call this undertaking a comprehensive situational analysis. Where are we now? So you look at the stakeholder analysis, you set a vision, mission, and values. You can do environmental analysis to understand the operating landscape. So macro, micro, internal analysis. All this is done to understand the current situation. So you gather data. Second step is you set objectives and goals. Where do you want to be? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go? So you need to measure and create what we call SMART objectives and goals. The third step is to devise a strategy. Strategy is how do we get there? What are the means? Are we going to go through collaboration, joint ventures, strategic alliances, partnerships? How are we going to achieve our sustainability goals? Then tactics are how exactly we are going to break it down when it comes to the marketing mix. What are we practically going to do with each P? So your channel is the distribution. Your messaging is the communication. What is your story? What is your narrative? What are the campaign ideas? How are you going to price your products? Tactics means to the 7 Ps, the marketing mix. And finally, how do you, on an ongoing basis, measure the results, set KPIs, understand the return on purpose, ROI on sustainable marketing efforts, continuously improve, and continuous learning is also important so that you make any changes and course correct your strategy. Okay. Now, this slide is an important slide. This slide is an important slide. So it gives us a very clear picture of how a purpose or impact-driven 7 Ps will look like. In other words, it is a view of the 7 Ps through a responsible, sustainable marketing lens, right? So, I mean, there's a lot to understand from this slide. So let's go a little slow. So in terms of product, a marketer must look through all these product attributes when launching a product. But with regards to the sustainability or responsible strategy, you have to think about the circularity, packaging, the reputation, in terms of all these aspects of designing a product, right? Then price, fair trade, ethical partnerships, supply chain, fair trade in terms of paying them a fair price. Then product price place is to distribution. Promotion we've discussed already. The responsible labeling, greenwashing, avoiding greenwashing, the messaging. Then comes the other part, the 3 service Ps, people. So people, you need to have a EDI strategy. You need to have an effective EDI strategy. You need to pay fair wages, employee empowerment, flexible working, diversity, equality, inclusion. Then physical evidence is the place, the building, the stores, the physical spaces, the website, and how you tangibilize the intangible product. Process is the process of the delivery. Can be the service delivery, right? The process, the fulfillment. Sometimes you can employ technology there. So this is the 7 Ps through a responsible, sustainable marketing lens. Again, this is another author's view of it. Examples of ethical marketing in the marketing mix. So product related decisions, price, place, and promotion. So you can go through this. We have looked through this already. And then when we talk about green marketing strategies, what are the strategic options? Product development is a strategic option. So you can have sustainability range, a sustainability product range, in addition to your normal range. Eco-friendly packaging, eco-friendly packaging. Many manufacturing companies use this. Responsible retail companies use this. Green branding, ethical messaging. Digital low impact advertising, low impact meaning low impact on the environment. So you mostly go digital. Engaging consumers with activities that you undertake. So these are some strategic options that one can pursue in their green marketing strategies. How do you measure green marketing success? We have looked at so many options. One is, of course, the carbon footprint usage, tracking emissions, sales growth in sustainable products, consumer engagement and feedback research that you do, and third-party sustainability certifications. You can add maybe one to this, the awards won, the accolades won, recognitions gained from industry. So these are some other areas. And responsible consumption is something that is a growing concern. How do you consume responsibly? Responsible consumption is an attitude that involves making well-reasoned decisions about the products we buy by taking into consideration the environmental, social, and economic benefits. So we are called as consumers to be responsible consumers. Now, sustainability credentials or green credentials, usually in the annual report on our websites, many large companies will put their sustainability credentials. So you can see how it is done here. We call this green credentials. This is for a company by the name of Ford Motors. All of you know the US car manufacturer, Ford Motors. So can you see number of employees? 76% target reduction in greenhouse gases, 50% target reduction in, again, another type of greenhouse gases, right? So their commercial objectives are also there. They are number one commercial vehicle brand in US and Europe, right? But then how do you mix your commercial objectives with your sustainability objectives? 76.2% reduction in freshwater use since 2000. $2.3 million donated to disaster relief efforts. So the list goes on. Green credentials refer to the company's demonstrated commitment to sustainable practices and responsible environmental stewardship. So you have to showcase your credentials. It's like a biodata. What have you achieved from a sustainability sense, right? And we try to distinguish between green marketing and sustainable marketing. So green marketing versus sustainability. Green marketing focuses on the environmental aspect of sustainability. But sustainable marketing goes to a deeper level, factoring the nature, people, environment, and all in between. So sustainable marketing is a much more broader concept than green marketing. More often about building an environmental sensitive reputation, promotes wider vision for the future. Not just spreading message, actually requires change in production processes, can include green marketing products. Can lead to greenwashing, but shouldn't. Can lead to greenwashing, but shouldn't. So when you look at the sustainability marketing concept, it encompasses a broader perspective than green marketing. And sustainability marketing, there are many aspects one need to consider and master. So when you talk about sustainability, you need to think about your stakeholder strategy. How do you integrate your business strategy? Then you have to look through the environment. You have to look at people, regulation, governments. You have investors, shareholders. Then you have the UN Sustainable Development Goals, Paris Climate Agreement, Net Zero Challenge. Then you have your supply chain and so many greenwashing matrices that you can use. So this is kind of a mind map to show you the linkages of sustainability. And it's very complex. There are so many aspects that you need to consider, right? So here's an example of investing in eco-friendly packaging. Many companies do this. It's a nice feeling that you get when your packaging is eco-friendly, when you buy a product. You can also put a tag to it so that consumers are aware that you're not doing it to cut costs, but you are doing it because you are a nature and an environmental lover. Okay. Starbucks is another company that practices this. You can see by 2025, they aim to design, build, and operate 10,000 greener Starbucks stores globally. So much more energy efficient, waste diversion, healthy environment focus, community engagement, responsible materials, raw materials, conserving water, and renewable energy focus. So you can see there are so many things that comes together to deliver a business sustainability strategy. So sustainability focused distribution channels are very important because your distribution will take your product to the end consumer. So distributors, retailers, wholesalers must all carry the same values of the company and adopt the same sustainability practices. Now we're going to look at how an organization can implement a sustainability strategy and a comprehensive implementation plan. So first of all, like we discussed before, you need to set objectives. What are you going to achieve as an organization? So carbon footprint reduction, CSR objectives, stakeholder engagement objectives, social objectives, all those must be quantified. Then you can come up with key environmental strategies. We have been discussing this right throughout. Energy conservation and efficiency, waste reduction and recycling, carbon footprint related strategies, and sustainable supply chain or procurement strategies. Then in the plan, you will also focus about social responsibility strategies, right? It's not only environmental. What are your diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies, DEI strategies or EDI strategies, community engagement strategies, employee well-being strategies, and ethical business practices. So you need to look at the community side of things and the environmental side of things. Now, implementation project plan, implementation schedule time frame is very important. So what are you going to achieve in the first phase, second phase, third phase, fourth phase? You cannot achieve everything at once. You need to develop policies, schedule stakeholder meetings, do a comprehensive audit, run pilot projects, employee training, initiate partnerships, sign agreements, monitor the progress. There are so many things that you need to do. And also understand the campaigns that you're going to run, as well as continuous improvement. So we call that a Gantt chart or a schedule or a project plan. What are the roles and responsibilities? Who does what needs to be planned? Because you will also dedicate resources, but who will be accountable for what? So executive leadership, what will they be responsible for? The sustainability team, HR can be responsible for the DEI policies and the well-being programs, procurement and operations, employees. So each player will need to own the goals and the plan. And finally, what are the performance matrices, measures that you're going to monitor, right? So this is the assessment criteria 3.3. I will see you in AC 3.4. Thank you.